Jessica always knew there was a magical connection between humans and animals, even if some folks thought she was dreaming. But she got to put that belief to the test when she met Spongie, a little tortoise in desperate need of a hero. Spongie's previous owners couldn't handle his poor health and simply left him behind. The poor fellow was left facing the grim possibility of being put down if no one stepped up. Jessica's heart melted for the little guy, and she decided to take on the challenge of nursing him back to health. When Jessica first brought Spongie home, it was like walking into a reptile ER. His shell was soft and fragile, screaming malnutrition, and his eyes were in rough shape. Jessica, who didn't have a clue about reptile care, found herself diving into a crash course on Tortoise TLC. Imagine juggling antibiotics, eye drops, vitamins, and even shots for a tiny tortoise. The doctors weren't very hopeful, but Jessica wasn't about to give up. Despite the bleak outlook, Jessica rolled up her sleeves and got to work, determined to give Spongie the best care possible. It wasn't easy. It required tons of patience and a steep learning curve. But as Jessica mastered the treatments, Spongie started to show signs of getting better. His shell began to harden, and his eyes cleared up. It was a slow, bumpy road, but Jessica's dedication was starting to pay off. As Spongie's health improved, so did his personality. This little tortoise had a flair for fun. He loved crawling through the obstacle courses Jessica made for him and had a blast cuddling under blankets. Spongie was getting stronger and happier by the day, and Jessica's heart swelled with joy. Their bond grew deeper as she watched him thrive, turning him from just a pet into a beloved companion. The connection between Jessica and Spongie was something special. Spongie preferred hanging out with Jessica above anyone else, especially during feeding and cuddle times. With a beak similar to a bird's, Spongie showed he adored Jessica's special care routines. They owe their tight bond to the affection and love that Jessica provided early on. Spongie had a daily routine that he stuck to like clockwork. He'd wake up demanding breakfast, explore outside, and let Jessica know his needs by banging his shell against the door. Who knew tortoises could be so smart and expressive? Jessica loved his quirky antics and was always ready to meet his needs, deepening their special bond. Jessica is a firm believer that reptiles can show love, even if it's a bit different from your typical pet snuggles. Spongie's behavior, his fearless nature, his enjoyment of being handled and cuddled showed a kind of love that Jessica treasured. It was clear Spongie trusted her completely, and this trust felt like pure love to her. Sadly, after 2 years of good health, Spongie's condition started to decline. He stopped eating and slept more than usual. Diagnosing his issues was tough, given how tricky it is to examine a tortoise's insides. Despite trying a feeding tube and nebulizer treatments, Spongie's health kept worsening. He passed away at 5 years old, leaving a huge void in Jessica's heart. Looking back on her time with Spongie, it solidified Jessica's sense of connection and purpose. She believes they were destined to find each other, forming a bond that was truly special. Spongie's story highlights the powerful connections that can blossom between humans and animals, even when the odds are against you. For Jessica, Spongie was more than a pet. He was a soulmate, showing that love truly knows no bounds.